Good morning, boys and girls, and happy Tuesday, day 22 of distant learning. There will be an optional science lesson following our reading lesson today, so towards the end of this video. Today, you will be completing 30 minutes reading a story of your choice. If you are making use of Get Epic, awesome. Just be sure that you are reading the stories and not doing the read out louds. Alrighty, and then with me today, we'll be reviewing point of view. Alright, so point of view is the way a person or a character, the author, thinks or feels about something. Okay, so for example, let's think about distant learning. Okay, my point of view of distant learning is that I simply don't like it. I miss seeing my kids in person. I miss having lunch with you guys. I miss having a schedule. I have lots of reasons for not being a huge fan of distant learning. Okay, your point of view of distant learning might be that you don't like it because you miss your friends, you miss PE, you miss me, or maybe your point of view is that you do like distant learning because it's new and different. You get to sleep in or spend more time with your family, okay? So it's how we think or feel about something. And in that subject, we were talking about distant learning. Now, what about an author's point of view? So we can determine the author's point of view based on the things that the author says in their writing. For example, let's say an author writes a story about dogs. The author thinks that dogs can help people. So he talks about guide dogs, guard dogs, herding dogs, police or military dogs. He's giving all of this information about the different jobs that these dogs can have. So based on the great things the author talks about dogs doing, we can say that the author's point of view is that they feel that dogs are helpful and hardworking animals, right? Another example would be an author's story about sharks. So let's say in this story, the author explains that sharks bite people on accident, okay? The author then goes on to further explain that they do this because they have poor eyesight. They swim in murky water, meaning it's not clear water, so they can't really see that well, and that they bite to identify what it is that they think that they see in the water. It's not to cause harm. It's not to be mean or to hurt. They're just trying to figure out what is that. Okay, so based on the information that this author gives us on sharks, we can determine that the author's point of view of sharks is that they're misunderstood and that they're not as harmful as people think. We can make that opinion based on what the story told us. I mean, the author is explaining that they have poor eyesight, that they bite on accident, that it's not to cause harm, they do it to identify things. They're giving us all of these details that point us in the direction to believe that the author truly thinks that sharks are misunderstood and that they're not as harmful as people think. Alrighty? So you can see how the author's point of view affects the information that the author will tell the readers. And this is what I mean by that. If the author thought sharks bit people on purpose, say, if he said, oh, well, they bite people on purpose, would they explain all the reasons why they don't bite people on purpose? Would they explain the poor eyesight, that they're biting to identify? No, why would they bother? If they thought that sharks bit people on purpose, the author wouldn't say the things that the author said. Okay, another example is if the author didn't like dogs and if they didn't find dogs helpful, do you think that the author would have written all about the different kinds of working dogs? Probably not. Probably not. Clearly, the author finds dogs helpful. He wrote an entire story on all different kinds of dogs. So in order to identify or distinguish the author's point of view, we must first analyze or look at the text and what the author says about the subject, okay? What the author says about the sharks, what the author says about the dogs, okay? Now, in doing this, we can ask ourselves 3 questions, okay? We can ask ourselves, what would the author agree with? How did the author explain different parts of the text? And what words did the author use to describe parts of the text or topic? Okay. What would they agree with? How did they explain? And what words did they use to describe? Alrighty. Now today you will read a story and you will only be answering one question. Okay? Your story is called Amazing Armadillos. Amazing Armadillos. Okay? That's not true because I'm going to read it to you. All right? So, while I'm reading, I want you to think about this question. Okay? Think about this question. Based on the text Amazing Armadillos, what is the author's point of view on armadillos? Provide details from the text to support your answer. Okay, so I'm going to read this story to you, and while I'm reading, I want you to think about how does the author think or feel, author's point of view, how do they think or feel about armadillos? And what sentence in the story helps you determine or find the author's thoughts or feelings? All right, so here we go. Amazing Armadillos. Have you ever seen an armadillo? An armadillo resembles a stone carving because its skin is hard like armor. Almost the entire body of the armadillo is covered with this tough armor-like skin. Early Spanish explorers gave the armadillo its name. They thought the armadillo's skin looked like their own armor. In Spanish, armadillo means armored one. Little armored one. Scientists believe that armadillos were on Earth many years before Spanish explorers discovered them. They may have lived 55 million years ago. They may even be related to the glyptodont, an animal that lived at the same time as dinosaurs. Today, the armadillo is the official small mammal of the state of Texas. The armadillo shell, called a carapace, is not solid like the shell of a turtle or a snail. In the middle are 9 bands that are joined with skin. This structure allows the armadillo to contort or bend its body and move easily. Did you know that armadillos can swim? They often avoid or escape predators by swimming away. First, the armadillo takes big breaths to fill its stomach with air. This makes the armadillo float. Then the armadillo paddles across the water. An armadillo can walk under the water too. It holds one big breath and begins to sink. When it reaches the bottom, it starts walking. An armadillo can hold its breath for as long as 8 minutes. That's so cool. I didn't know any of that. All right, so again, the question was, based on the text Amazing Armadillos, what is the author's point of view, thoughts or feelings, on armadillos? Provide details from the text to support your answer. Find the sentences in there that help you determine the author's thoughts or feelings, aka author's point of view. Alrighty. Now, the remainder of this lesson is for science. So if you're not turned to your science page, go ahead and do that now. We will be looking at Tuesday. It has on the right side a picture of a pine cone, some leaves, and some flowers. There's a big picture of, looks like a sunflower getting some sunlight on it. Hope you're there. Alrighty, so for Tuesday, bell ringer. Andrew classifies a plant as a non-flowering seed-bearing plant. Which statement explains his choice? Okay, remember, he says it is a non-flowering seed-bearing plant. Okay? Is it A, he observed cones on the plant? B, he observed spores on the plant? C, he observed needles and leaves on the plant? Or D, he observed flowers and needles on the plant? All right. Go ahead and choose your answer and moving on. Plants make food. And here's the explanation. Plants need carbon dioxide gas from the air, water, which is absorbed by the plant's roots, and the sun's light energy to make food. So they need 3 things. carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight, okay? During the process, the leaves release oxygen, okay? Sunlight penetrates the leaf and provides the energy source for the food making process. Carbon dioxide gas from the air flows into very small holes in the leaves. And the carbon dioxide is one of the main ingredients in the process of making food for the plant. A byproduct of the process is the oxygen that we use to breathe. So byproduct, meaning we get two things out of plants. The carbon dioxide is taken from the plant and the plant gives us oxygen. All right. Water is another main ingredient required for leaves to make food. It is absorbed by the plant's roots and then transported through the stem to the leaves. Once the food has been produced in the leaves, it will travel to all other parts of the plant. The food will ensure the plant both survives and grows. Any extra food will then make its way to the roots for storage. The sun's light energy and its interaction with plants to produce food is the single most important process for sustaining life on Earth. Okay, so you'll see there in that picture, the plant gets the sunlight and the carbon dioxide, it produces oxygen, water is absorbed through the roots. Alrighty, now your exit slip is, how is food made in a plant? Okay, so in your own words, I just want you to tell me, how does the plant make its own food? And boom, you've got your science lesson for today. I miss you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow during our Zoom meeting. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I will upload all of today's packet pages with this, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Miss y'all. Bye.